Welcome back, my Jedi friends, and in today's episode, we're going to explore, is your bestie your dog or your cat? So, for highly sensitive people, it is very common when the vibration's raising and when you're going through a transition that you find that the only uh, the only being that you can connect with on a meaningful level is a dog or a cat, or a pet, or an animal, or something non-human. Non-human, folks. I'm going to talk about this today. I'm going to talk about why that happens, how it happens, and some of the dynamics that go with it. So, folks, highly sensitive people are far more likely to take on board other energies and to, at some stage in their life, feel completely disconnected from the rest of humanity. Let's face it, folks, that once you reach a certain age, you're going to reach a point where you think that at least most of humanity are just not worth the time and effort, that human beings are infinitely complicated, two-faced, uh, conniving bastards at a certain point in time. Now, not everyone fits into this category, folks, because there's other highly sensitive beings out there as well, but maybe you've not met many of them. So it's a very common thing that highly sensitive people, empaths, light workers, generally good people, will find themselves at a certain point finding the closest bonds that they have with a dog or a cat. Why is that, folks? Why is that? Because, firstly, dogs and cats tend to be less judgmental of our bullshit. As long as you feed them, folks. As long as you feed them, especially with cats. Now, dogs are a lot more loyal, but then there's like cats that are more like dogs, which we can talk about in there as well. That not every cat is just in it for the food, but the food is a big factor. So, but all of that aside, folks, because these are some of the cynical things I hear when people talk about pets. Oh, if you stop feeding them, well, of course, if you stop feeding them, they wouldn't be as close to you. You got to feed them, folks. They have to live. They have to survive. But let's talk about it from a pure energy connection. So, if you give love to a pet, you're far more likely to get it back. You're far more likely to get love back when you're not giving love. They're very giving. Now, from an energy dynamic point of view, if you have a pet, they are dependent on you. So, in many respects, there's nowhere for them to run. Now, yes, the cat could run out the cat flap and try and find a new owner, possibly. But the bottom line is they are dependent from an energy perspective. But all of that aside, once you've formed a bond with a pet, what you will find is that they are very sensitive to energy, very sensitive to energy. And some people will come in the house and the pets will be instantly attracted to them. And other people come in and they won't want anything to do with them, folks. Now, I've known people, I've spoken to people. There's one girl I met once, I was traveling, that said her dog just knew the energy of the people. And so she'd always bring in new boyfriends for the pet test, for the dog test. And the dog always got it right. Dog always got it right that would start snarling or growling if they were giving off the wrong energy, and they had to go through the test. Animals, they see through the bullshit. Well, we can try and hide who we are, but they can pick up on an energy level. And this is why I'm talking about this. Cats and dogs are sensitive to energy. Now, I suspect that they are a little bit psychic as well, because we had a dog growing up that would suddenly bark at nothing. We'd think he was barking at nothing. But I was convinced that when spirits entered the room, the dog could pick it up and sometimes would go absolutely nuts. Now, there was something in me, even as a kid, that knew that the dog would not be barking unless there was a good reason. Unless there was a good reason, I knew my dog really, really well and had a very close bond. Now, let's forget the fact that my uniform, my school uniform, every day was covered in dog hair. It was a nightmare. I was always picking off hair. So there's a price to pay growing up in a pet-friendly household, but I wouldn't have traded that in for the world. And here's the reality, folks. Growing up, I had a German Shepherd's dog. We had two growing up, and one of them had a very close bond with me. It was my dog. It was my dog, folks. used to sleep on my bed, and when it got too hairy and I'd shut the door, it used to sleep, used to sleep as a draft excluder outside the door and make me feel really guilty. So I'd end up letting it back in. But this dog was my shadow. It went everywhere. And I used to wander around a lunatic asylum at the time, folks, and having the dog with me was an extra level of security in case one of the secure patients got out from the proper lunatic wards. And speaking of which, when patients used to escape from the hospital, there was an old air raid siren that used to go off. And a dog used to go nuts with the air raid siren that used to go off, used to start howling, going completely ballistic. But this was the reality of growing up in a psychiatric hospital, folks. An old air raid siren if one of the secure patients got out. And that was time we knew it was a good idea to stay in. But if that siren had gone off, the only way my parents would have let me out is to bring the dog with me just in case. Because we could not be contained, folks. But there is a very pure, energetic connection between cats, dogs, and their owners. And you'll find what I found energetically is that dogs and cats will reflect the energy of their owners. You can tell a lot about a person by the pets they turn up with. That's sort of the feng shui of pets, folks. You can, if you want to know someone, find out what pets they've got and see the personalities of the pets. And it's always interesting, folks, always interesting. Now, on the uh, on the thumbnail of this are the two cats that I live with, and they are absolute diamonds. And for me, there's nothing purer than the cats. They are like therapy for me. The cat's purring on my lap. I mean, that's me made. Maybe that's an aging thing, folks. I feel like a Bond villain. All I need is the swinging chair so I could turn around stroking the cat. Go, I've been expecting you, Mr. Bond. But it's true, folks. The awakening process means that certain people, highly sensitive people, are waking up to the reality that we're living in a mad planet and we all have a piece to play. And if we're not doing what we came here to do, and you may not know what you came here to do, you may just wake up and feel lost, absolutely lost, but you know something's wrong and you have a role to play within that. And as you wake up and as you discover that disruption process, that's when you can start losing touch with other human beings and form bonds with your pets. And this is a very common thing, folks. It's very common for highly sensitive people. For me personally, should I admit this? Are you going to admit this, Adam? I get way more upset when I see cruelty to animals than cruelty to human beings. True story, folks. Because I'm very sensitive to the energy and I'm very sensitive to the fact that a lot of animal suffering is because of human beings. So there you go, folks. That's my little personal disclaimer. That's where I'm coming at it from. So I've always felt very connected to animals. I've always felt like a strong bond. And not only that, here's something that's a bit of quirk in our family. So I did a course in studying neuro-linguistic programming and building up rapport. And part of that course was to mimic the physiology of the person that you're spending time with. So I did that with my cat. I noticed that it used to blink at me a lot, just do this slow blinking thing. And I used to mimic it. And then it would lick its lips and I'd lick my lips as well. I'd just mirror the cat. Whatever it did, I did it back. And somehow now it's a family quirk that the cat just is drawn to me all the time, just straight on my lap, follows me around the house, follows me into the garden, sees me off. I come back into the front door. The cat's there waiting. It obviously knows as I'm approaching. So there you go, folks. There's a little insight into the quirky world of me. And the reason that I've got cats now is because they're lower maintenance, and I don't. I couldn't commit to doing all the walking that would be necessary for a dog. But yes, I was very close to my dogs growing up. German Shepherds were my best friend, highly intelligent dogs, very sensitive to energy, and very good friends. Very good friend. I think that they were sent if there's like guardian angels, definitely. So there you go, folks. an insight into the life of pets and an explanation as to why highly sensitive people can feel very strong connections to cats and dogs, because maybe they are your guardian angel, folks. It will certainly feel that way as the world goes mad. So there you go. It'd be very interesting to get your insights on your pet tales, and let me know what you think. But either way, folks, that has been my energetic share on the secret double life of the empath and their relationships with cats, dogs. And if you want more of the same, folks, then do like and subscribe to the channel. And if you want more of my random insights, you will find one just there.